This is Matt Hurt, at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny, at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And my name is Michael Lawrence White the First. And on Twitter, you can find me at I am Mike White.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
Show off.
Who, me?
No, what? Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Whatever.
Your middle name is Lawrence.
Wow.
Yeah. It is Lawrence. I was so embarrassed by that for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, it's like an old man's name. I tried to keep a secret for a long time. In like 8th grade, it came out, and I was so embarrassed. And I don't know why. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a common
Yeah,
name.
it's a good one. I almost called you Michael Lawrence in the pod chat just for
Michael Lawrence.
S's and G's, but I didn't. Yeah.
So that's how I know I'm not the guy who wrote and directed School of Rock. I'm not that Mike White.
Ah, Mike White. He was also.
I'm also not Spawn from the Spawn movie or Black Dynamite from Black Dynamite.
Wow.
And you're not black.
Well, for the most part, yeah.
You are pretty dynamite, though.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. Okay, guys. So let's
Dynamite. Dynamite.
So this is a potpourri episode. We're basically we recorded our Adam Sandler Summer Sandler Part 2 episode, and we did a potpourri segment for it. But when I was editing it, I noticed that we went a little long with Sandler. So what I'm doing is we're putting the potpourri segment that we talked about there right here in this episode, and then we're going to record some extra potpourri to fill out the episode. So right now, let's just get to the potpourri from the Summer Sandler episode. Is that good with you guys?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay.
So now we come to the point of the show where we can talk about anything we're into, anything we've seen lately, news we're looking forward to, stuff that's coming up. Anything, as long as it smells good, it is the Obsessive Viewer Potpourri. So, Mike, what do you have for Potpourri?
Well, I don't know how in depth we want to get into this one, because I think we can take a while on this. But would you guys care to talk about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, cut that out. Cut that out.
You really meant
Tiny says
fart
yes.
sound effect for that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, that was great. Yeah, let's talk about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
So this episode comes out. Matt, you might not have a whole lot to say, or maybe you will. But this episode comes out after the release of your Planet of the Apes retrospective review series.
The franchise review, which you can find the link to on the show notes and on the lyrics page of this sound file.
So people know exactly how you feel about it. You loved it.
Yes.
Where would you rank it on the 2014 scale so far?
Oh,
and again, no pressure.
Huh. In terms of movies that have been released in 2014 or movies that I've seen in 2014?
Movies that have been released in 2014.
I'd have to consult my list, which is vastly out of date right now, but I would say it's maybe a notch below Days of Future Past for me.
Okay.
It's somewhere in the vicinity of Days of Future Past and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
I absolutely,
it's up that high.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this movie. Hands down, best in the franchise for me. Because I watched the entire franchise in preparation of seeing it, and I mean, just holy crap! I mean, just the Rise of the Planet of the Apes did such a great job of establishing this really groundbreaking mocap and CGI style of filmmaking, and Andy Serkis was just revolutionary in that movie. And then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes just took that and expanded it like 10, 20, 30-fold. Mm-hmm. And it became such an amazing feat of filmmaking for me. And not only in the CGI and the motion capture, but also in like even just the lighting of the like the battle scenes and stuff.
Oh, the war scene?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I was just washed in a glow of happiness as I watched them just attacking each other. And then like, it was like, there's that one sequence in particular that it's just a dimly lit street that's only lit by street lamps. There's an orange glow throughout it, and you can see the firefights of the weapons and all that. And I'm just like, this is so great, and the atmosphere of this and the lighting is so spectacular that I can't really get enough of it. And just
it was brilliantly made.
Yeah.
Cinematically, it is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It is a gorgeous film to watch from start to finish. There is nothing about the mocap or the CGI that irked me whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done. I loved how three-dimensional the characters were. I love that Caesar wasn't all good. I even love that Gary Oldman wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that a lot in summer movies.
Right.
So I appreciated that a lot. I also like... do you guys know if this is part of a planned trilogy or if they knew that... When they first started, did they know there would be more than just the first one?
I don't know, but I know that they were leading into the sequel to this at the end of this. Obviously, there was actually a scene shot for like that was intended to be like kind of the opener of the sequel that would have ended this movie. But they ended up just I think Matt Reeves said that he cut it because it would have given away too much about the sequel or something. So they went
wait, they know there's going to be another one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. That's good.
But I don't know
That's very good.
I don't know if they went into Rise of the Planet of the Apes with that knowledge or if they just went into Dawn with that knowledge based on the success of Rise.
Gotcha. What I loved about this one, and it makes me think that I hope they knew that this was coming when they made the first one, is that the name Caesar for the head ape finally pays off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a reference to Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. The main ape character is named Caesar.
Oh, well, there you go. Never mind. See, I didn't know that. I'm kind of coming at this from the fresh. I've only seen this reboot.
Absolutely, and it is definitely a play in this movie. It is definitely a play on the name Caesar is definitely
Julius Caesar, right?
Yeah, and he has his Brutus.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah, absolutely. The whole thing.
Yeah, the conflict between amongst the apes, it just felt so like I loved how this movie was from the perspective of the apes, and it was almost to a fault because the humans were a little underplayed for me, and I felt like they should have been built up a little bit more. But it wasn't necessarily in sacrifice of any story or anything like that, because it was definitely a very good mix of storytelling throughout all of its parts. It was just a really well-constructed movie.
Now, I know that I'm going to be the standout here, but I do have a few complaints.
Okay.
So I better get those off my chest.
Wait, first, Tiny, do you have any thoughts on it? Because we've been kind of...
Yeah, I was kind of curious what Mike was going to say, because I have a feeling that Mike's
it is also my potpourri segment.
Oh, sorry. Well, I mean, me and you have been talking about it, and Tiny's been...
No, you're right. You're right. I know.
Okay, but go ahead. Sorry.
So I imagine people who are going to listen to this probably loved this movie, and I have no doubt I'll see it on plenty of top of the year lists. A small nitpick: Dawn and Rise are at the same time. Like, if they're using that analogy to like the sun or the beginning of something, I wish Dawn of the Planet of the Apes works. The title works. I'm just saying, I wish they would have had the forethought not to name the first one Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I mean, they mean the same thing.
Sure. True. I would say that that's kind of nitpicking. I mean,
it is absolutely nitpicking.
Yeah.
However, I am here's my actual problem.
Okay.
And at first glance, I loved the movie. Winter Soldier is the gold standard for movies this year for me.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the best one, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Also not as good as Snowpiercer, which I'll wait till you guys see it.
Right.
It's just my quick potpourri on that one. Please, please, please see Snowpiercer. I tweeted this the other day. You've never seen a movie like it before, and in the coming years, you will see 1,000 movies just like it. So see Snowpiercer. Anyway, with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I'm so glad to hear you say that there is a planned threequel for this movie, because this movie was kind of unnecessary, if not. All right? The first movie ended in a way where you know where it's going to go next. You know what happens next. You know the mythology. Unless there is a third one, unless they show why this one mattered, this Dawn of the Planet of the Apes doesn't do much to the mythology.
Yeah.
Right? Like, after this, we know it's called Planet of the Apes, and it's also called Rise or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. We know it is not the Planet of the Apes yet, right? So we know that they are going to overrun the entire planet, and we can assume that an astronaut is going to come back to this planet and think that it's a foreign planet, and they're going to think that the entire place is run by apes. And we assume that going into the first movie. Mm-hmm. At the end of the first movie, we get the beginning of that story, and we can assume that is still going to happen. We assume there is a war. We assume that Caesar is probably in charge of the war, and we assume that the apes take over, and for the most part, humans are gone, right? All that happened in this movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is that which we assumed after the first one. Now, it was incredibly well done, and the character building, not just showing, but the addition to the character already set up in Rise of Caesar is amazing. Mm-hmm. I love what happens to Koba, and I love what happens to the apes altogether. However, in terms of building of the mythology, if there's not a third one, I would just shrug this one off story-wise. Does that make sense at all?
Story-wise, yes. I'm with you on that. Man, that was really detailed. Awesome, though. Good job.
Thanks.
I think the reason why I haven't interjected so far that much is because I was really curious what you both had to say. I think I'm going to kind of fall in the middle of both of you because with the point you just made, I think you're correct in the aspect of story. I think it will be far less significant than we will think it is, I guess. But I think in the area of development, it was hugely important because it demonstrated the progression of societal assimilation, I guess, which is a ridiculous term. How the apes are developing a literal society, much like early humans did. And we got to see really detailed and well-done examples of that in the script for this movie, I think, which is strange to say because it was freaking monkeys saying it. But that's part of the amazing artistry of the film is that they gave such depth and detail and aplomb to the dialogue of the apes in this movie. It was astounding to me. That was my favorite part.
Sure. And now that I know there's a third one, this movie is absolutely important.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you're right. And like I said, in the aspect of story, it was almost, I wouldn't say insignificant, but just didn't play a huge role. But I think that the development is what's going to be the legacy of this film as itself, not necessarily in the trilogy, but the film as a standalone movie. I think people are going to look back at how, the conflict, the moral conflict and the societal conflict between the apes in this movie.
It reminds me of The Dark Knight, which is, and I've said before many times, one of my favorite movies of all time, and probably it's in my top 3 best of the 2000s. It is fantastic. It's far and away the best movie of that trilogy. However, in the scheme of the mythology, it's not that necessary.
It stands apart from the franchise.
Totally.
Yeah. From its respective franchise. I definitely agree with you there. And I agree with everything you guys said on the CGI. I was amazed at how sometimes the apes looked real, especially the close-ups. It was amazing.
Most of the time.
That pretty much goes without saying. But
and not just that, but like they looked like, or at least Caesar looked like Andy Serkis.
It did, especially in the eyes.
They were emoting.
Yes.
It was amazing.
They were emoting so well. Like that scene between Caesar and his son, kind of late in the movie, at the house. I was just like, "Holy crap!" Like that. It was touching. It was very touching.
I think it's time to recognize, for the Academy to recognize Andy Serkis and his work.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I don't know that he should win. I'm sure there are going to be better performances with more to do.
Sure.
But he needs to be recognized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's tricky though, because I feel like you have two people giving a performance in this character, because you have Andy Serkis and then you have the whole freaking team of animators.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
You're right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it works. I'm not an actor. I'm not an animator. But it seems like it's almost each person's giving half of a performance. Maybe you can divide up the responsibility or the credit a little differently, but
right.
I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, he's emoting so much though, and he's putting there's so much energy behind Serkis's performance though that I think that it warrants Oscar consideration.
And so do I. I feel the same way. I just think it's tricky. I think it's
right.
going to cause a huge rift if he gets the nomination for it.
Yeah,
but I think I'm okay with the rift. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
I loved the another point of the movie was the kind of the character mirrors between the apes and the humans. Like you said, Koba was kind of the ape Gary Oldman, and Caesar was like the ape Jason Clarke. I forget their character names.
Yeah.
But that was just a sort of a fun thing. You kind of see what fails and what succeeds, and I don't know. Again, it was just the whole development of society. It was something that I was so interested in.
Yeah. And their motivations were very clear too, and it was very strong.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. I'd probably put it to.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I'd probably put it probably like maybe 5th or 6th best of the movies I've seen so far that have come out in 2014. Probably somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's similar to me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which I haven't seen a ton of those yet. So, I mean,
right.
we're just barely past halfway in the year. So.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So, what about you guys? What have you guys seen? Sorry to take up so much of that time.
That was great.
Tiny, you want to go?
Sure. Let's see. I wanted to bring up. I always bring up stuff I watched, and I wanted to bring up something different. And it's something that's kind of I've been thinking about lately. It's actually news. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up on the news about the continuation of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise.
Yes.
It's so weird to me. And I think it's because I'm just not a businessman at all when it comes to movies. Well, I mean, to an extent I am, but it's just like, I could never see myself making a decision based on money, I guess. And so what's insane to me is that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was financially the least successful of all 5 Spider-Man movies.
Wow.
Right.
But it still made $700 and some million worldwide.
Right.
And so it's like Sony is sitting on this amazingly valuable property. Between 5 movies, you're talking about like $3 billion.
Yeah.
Which is
ridiculous.
That's a crap ton of money. And if they don't use it, they lose it.
Right.
If Sony does not, I don't know the specifics of the contract, but if they don't make another movie, the property reverts back to Marvel. So Sony either have to make something, or they're going to lose it. And so I guess there's a huge rift between the studio. I use the word rift too much. There's conflict between the studio heads and the producers and the filmmakers, directors, writers, actors. It's like everybody can't even come close to getting along with each other. It's really strange to me. Like, you'd think they would be able to figure something out. It's basically Amazing Spider-Man 3, for those who don't know, is basically sitting in limbo right now. It is more than realistic or a real possibility that Sony Universal will not be making Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Which is good. I think it needs to sit in timeout for a little bit.
Yeah, and
I was a fan of Amazing too. Actually, I came out of it liking it, but I am not thrilled about the direction it's going. And when I found out that the Sinister Six might be derailed, I was thrilled.
Yeah, I love the idea of the property going back to Marvel, because seeing freaking Spider-Man in the third Avengers movie would blow my mind.
Yeah.
Cool.
But, at the same time, I hate not seeing character storylines completely fleshed out like the way they were intended to be.
Mm-hmm. True.
We would all this development that we got for Peter Parker in the second Spider-Man film is just essentially out the window.
Right.
And I think that's been my favorite part of this most recent franchise. I don't think we ever got anything that good in the first franchise. But I've said before how biased I am against that, so that's maybe not too fair. But I want to see how that plays out.
I wonder if they're using the fact that it is the lowest grossing as a scapegoat for not doing another one, with the knowledge that the team they're using hasn't been successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, again, success is hard. And, you know, it's not up to us to talk about the success of a movie. Right. Clearly, it's made several $1 million. But what I mean is, critically, people haven't liked these movies. And I wonder if they're saying, maybe there's something to that.
Could be.
Could be, yeah. Yeah.
I like the scapegoat theory. That's
right.
I don't think anybody involved in making it, again, be it the studio heads, anybody, is particularly excited about making it.
Could it be that they're just trying to focus everything on X-Men, and they feel like they're spreading the studio's spreading itself too thin by going Spider-Man a whole thing, X-Men a whole thing? Because they both own the property, right?
I was going to say, is that the same studio?
Is it Sony?
No.
No?
I thought Fox had
Fox. Oh, crap. Yeah. I completely forgot. Oh, never mind.
But maybe you're confused because of that joint thing they did at the end of Amazing, where they put the X-Men trailer.
Wow. I've gone like a couple months thinking that. Holy crap.
It's a mess.
Yeah, maybe it's also they're just getting cold feet. They don't want to maybe they'd rather cut their losses instead of competing with Fox and Marvel.
It is a mess. And can you imagine trying to explain this to a 10-year-old who just like wants to see his favorite superheroes? Well, I love the Avengers movies, but my favorite superhero is Spider-Man. Well, sorry, little Timmy, you'll never see them in a movie together. Why? Because money and adults are stupid.
Let's be real though. Studios don't give two about kids.
Nope.
No, they don't at all. You're right.
Unless they're buying toys.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. You know, I wish they could figure something out. I don't know. It's just such. I hate that. This is all just business now.
Yeah.
Like there's just no. It's almost like there's no artistry involved. No artistic capital being exchanged. It's all based on business and money, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, yep. Yeah. And now some of the best comic book movies are being made by independent studios and independent companies, groups. Kick-Ass.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Snowpiercer is not really based on a comic book, but it had a comic book style. Mm-hmm. Man, you guys got to see Snowpiercer.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a priority this week, I think.
Me too, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just news.
Cool.
Caught my eye. It's strange. So, Matthew.
Yes, I have a couple things that might run a little long, but the first thing, I don't think I've mentioned it before this, but the Flash pilot episode. I mentioned Arrow a couple weeks ago, and I'm enjoying Arrow. I haven't watched any more really since I talked about it. I just haven't had time. But the Flash pilot leaked online, and I stumbled upon a copy of it. And so I watched it, and it was really good. It was surprisingly really good. It kind of had a Sam Raimi Spider-Man kind of feel, which I know Tiny is not a big fan of, but it had that kind of comic booky kind of feel. And I'm not going to spoil it because it doesn't premiere until October, but the ending, I will say this. At no point, I'm not a big comic book guy. I'm trying to get into comics, and I'm really like jumping right into it. But I am into comic book movies. I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I really like what they're doing, even the lesser ones like Iron Man 2. I'm really enjoying what they're doing, and I have never once been that excited about the DC universe that they're trying to catch up to Marvel with. Because we all know, I was not a fan of Man of Steel. Yeah. I don't even like David S. Goyer that much. But,
yeah, we hated that movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But by the end of the Flash pilot episode, now I'm not saying that this is supposed to, it made me excited for the longevity of the DC universe. Not saying that it's going to tie in with the movie universe that they're making, or if it's all going, like all these properties are like the TV shows Arrow and The Flash are going to join with the Justice League and they're going to have a big sprawling movie and TV epic thing. I'm not saying that, but I'm thinking that it's a possibility judging by the pilot, and it's the first time I've been excited about the DC universe at all. And I was really interested, and I was really pleased with the pilot episode. I really liked it. The Flash is pretty cool. And it's got what is that guy's name? He played JD's brother in Scrubs.
I can't think of his
Tom
name.
Cavanaugh.
There you go.
Who he's just a likable guy. He plays a scientist and kind of a mentor to the Flash. And I think he's just a good presence. So I liked it. I'm looking forward to, I think I'm going to review every episode on the website when it premieres in October.
Nice.
So that should be fun. Other than that, I also watched, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Nice.
Oh,
which,
cool.
Have you guys watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail? I know Tiny hasn't.
I haven't.
Are you guys?
It's been a couple years.
Okay. Are you?
And by a couple years, I mean like 15 years.
I really liked it. I was a little hesitant because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I don't know if the comedy was really going to be my thing, but it was so goofy and weird that I really, really enjoyed it. Kind of like short vignettes marbled together or jumbled together into a narrative of a movie, and it was just. I mean, some of the bits were just genius. And then I was working at a different building, and we had it was under the public Wi-Fi, so I was able to waste like an hour or 2 or 3 at the building looking at Monty Python sketches from the Flying Circus, and I want to mention a couple of them. One being the Ministry of Silly Walks is very silly and goofy and funny. It's just people walking weird, and it's a branch of the government or whatever. It's just that's the whole bit, is that it's the Ministry of Silly Walks, and this guy's talking to a guy who's asking for a grant to help develop his silly walk. And it's so goofy and funny, and like a secretary comes in with coffee and she's walking really weird and it spills everywhere, and it's really funny. But kind of the standout the standout sketch for me was Argument Clinic, which I'll put links to all these in the show notes and everything, but this was just a brilliantly constructed sketch. This guy goes to an argument clinic to buy an argument, pretty much, and it's just the wit and the writing and the kind of turns of phrase and or the way it's constructed is just brilliant to me, and I really, really liked it. So I'm looking forward to digging more into Monty Python and stuff like that.
Nice.
Very cool. Yes. I did see Spam a lot live.
Yeah, how was that?
In Louisville. It was hilarious. Nice. It was very, very good. Very funny.
Nice. Yeah, I loved Life of Brian, which
Nice.
is another Monty Python movie.
Yeah, I need to check out that and the meaning of life and all that. So
nice.
So good stuff.
Hey, do you like drinking?
Love it.
Do you like playing Dungeons & Dragons?
Absolutely.
Then there's a podcast for you.
Really?
DnDUI.com.
That's amazing.
DnDUI.com, a podcast and webcomic about drinking ourselves under the tabletop.
All right, and now that we're back,
you can almost call this kind of a half a topic episode, because we kind of have one focus here that we're all pretty excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and we like we mentioned in that last Potpourri segment, me and Tiny hadn't watched Snowpiercer, and now we have. So we're going to just jump in and talk about Snowpiercer and stuff. Right?
What knowledge did you guys have about Snowpiercer going in?
Nothing at all. I knew Chris Evans was in it, and that's it. Yeah.
I saw someone posted a review of it from a legitimate website, and I was like, I haven't even heard of this. And I clicked on it, and I read the first paragraph, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to know anything else. Mm-hmm. And then I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, I need to see this. And we went to try to see it on Friday, and we kind of got screwed. But yeah, so we've seen it now.
I saw it in a couple of magazines. There were like ads for it in Entertainment Weekly that I still read. And all kinds of good reviews. A lot of the websites that I frequent touted it as pretty excellent. Mm-hmm. So I was really super excited going in. I remember I had to convince some of my friends that it's something we needed to see. I mean, I'm down for any kind of sci-fi, but just the accolades that it received beforehand, it kind of made it a must see for me.
Nice. The funny story about seeing Snowpiercer, me and Tiny went to a theater on the south side of Indianapolis to see it because I had looked up the times Thursday night at work, and we got all the way to the theater, and they were like, yeah, we don't have that movie anymore because IMDb doesn't update their show listings for the week for Friday until like Friday morning, and it just had Fridays. Under Friday on IMDb, it just had the week's stuff from Thursday, so it was gone. So we didn't get to see it.
You use IMDb as a movie theater?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
That's
your fault.
I'm going to download Fandango as soon as I can. Or as soon as I'll do it right now, actually.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, it's, that doesn't happen that often, but I mean, that time it did.
And last weekend was an awful weekend for movies.
It was.
We stood there for like a minute or two and we're like, well, should we see something else? And then we were like, Lucy, Hercules, Planes, Fire and Rescue. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's just a terrible spattering of movies for that weekend, so.
Lucy's actually getting not horrible reviews.
Just the premise, though.
I want to see it because it's Luc Besson. Luc Besson, but I don't know.
I don't know. I've seen worse misses. I think it'd be all right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. So Snowpiercer, I ended up. Also, another funny story. We were supposed to record last night. I'm really slap happy, guys. I have not slept today, just because I wanted to download Snowpiercer. I wanted to rent it. Tiny had rented it off of Amazon Instant Video, but it has a disclaimer that if you rent an HD movie, to avoid buffering issues and stuff, they basically they downgrade it to standard definition throughout it. So I was like, I don't want to mess with that. So I wanted to download it on or rent it from PSN, but I had to call customer service to activate my PS3 for video, whatever, and it took like 3 hours to download. So I didn't get to watch it yesterday, so I watched it today. That's a really long, elaborate thing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really tired.
Yeah, I was incredibly disappointed with Amazon Instant Video.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd watched something on that, and I was watching it in like 480p for the whole movie, even though I paid for HD. I've never had streaming issues, streaming anything over Netflix or whatever. So I was really disappointed. It didn't distract too much, but I wanted to see this awesomely visual movie in full HD, so I was kind of disappointed with that.
Yeah.
I got my ass out there and I watched that f***ing movie.
Nice. You saw it in the theater, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
You lucky dog.
Yeah, it was our regular Thursday night movie.
Nice.
And I said, we must see this movie.
Nice.
And boy, did I not regret it.
Yeah.
Nice.
What part of the movie was the first time you giggled like it was the first time you had ever seen a sci-fi movie?
I would say it was the when they put the oil drums together to make that tunnel.
That's good.
That's
nice.
Where they implemented that, I was like, holy balls, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I might have done that when the lights went out and they struck the match. They turned the fire on for that fight scene.
That was really, really
That
cool.
was unbelievable.
Do you guys think we should go spoiler free for this? Because not a lot of people have probably seen it yet.
Yeah, let's go spoiler free.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, I was not as charmed by it as you guys were.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Now, let me say this with a caveat.
Here we go.
I know. I did not watch this under great circumstances. I was very tired. I just was really weird. Just tired, exhausted. Some work stuff was just, piling on. So, I was just like watching it. I was trying to stay awake. The caffeine I had was going good, or whatever, working its magic, but maybe it wasn't working quite as hard as it should have been. But anyway, I liked the movie. I don't get me wrong. I thought it was a very well produced movie. The choreography, and the only thing I didn't like was the first action scene was way too shaky cam. And I don't normally notice stuff like that, but it was way too.
Describe it. What's the action scene?
It's when they first the beginning of the revolt. It was disorientingly shaky cam. When they all just run. It was right after. This was such a cool scene. Right after Chris Evans with the gun at the beginning. I won't say what he does with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
But it, like right after that, it was just like all shaky cam, which in the subsequent action sequences, there was some shaky cam present and everything, but not nearly as bad as in that one sequence, which I didn't even mind it in the rest of it because, I mean, they're on a train and it really added to the actual, to the ambiance of the film. But I don't know. I felt like it was such an intriguing concept. I thought that it was a really good concept and setting for a movie. Cause it's just, they're on a train and it's a dystopian post-apocalyptic thing about class struggles and stuff like that. But then again, it's also a post-apocalyptic dystopian class struggle kind of movie. And that's kind of something I feel like that's going on all over the place. And while this was a unique and original movie, it still was burdened by that genre.
I thought it was substantially deeper than that, actually.
Really?
I did too.
I thought it was. Go ahead, Mike.
First thing I'm gonna let you talk. I agree with you fully, Tiny. But I'll start by saying the best thing in its benefit was that it didn't have zombies in it. Most of those post-apocalyptic things,
right,
have zombies in it.
Sure.
But go ahead, Tiny. I'm sure your comment will be a little deeper than mine.
I was going to say that I don't think this is a spoiler. I think it was sort of like a pretty well-crafted allegory for like social control. Sort of like I'm not really sure if I know how to articulate it, but without spoiling it anyways. But yeah, it's kind of about how there's this theory that everyone needs to kind of stay in their place. And there's some would call it a conspiracy theory that, there are leaders around the world and there are countries around the world where there are actions that governments and people take in order to keep people in their socioeconomic place or in their class, if you want to call it that. It's blatant in like India, you have the caste system or whatever. Right. Something like that. And I thought this was like an interesting allegory for that. It wasn't even really veiled that deeply, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Maybe that's what I didn't like about it.
Especially at the end. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but it was kind of revealed at the end.
Kind of hit over the head pretty hard with it.
Yeah, but you see the themes of it throughout before it's exposed at the end, and you can't really piece it together as you're watching it.
I thought it was kind of straightforward, honestly.
But I don't know.
But I think it wore. I feel like it wore straightforward on its sleeve. I don't think that it meant to be so allegorical. I think that this was the story of this movie. You can't say that everything is an allegory, and especially this. But like, I don't think it tried at all to hide the fact that it was an allegory, and it used that class system just as a backdrop more than a theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, allegory is not the right word. I think it's more like
No, it is the right word, but again, it's so blatant that I don't think it's going for hidden allegory. Again, it's just a backdrop.
Yeah, or I would almost say maybe it's like they emphasize the subtext.
Yeah.
Like you think it's about this, but it's actually about this, and once you look at it, it's kind of on the surface, like the subtext. I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it was a deeper movie than just a dystopic sci-fi movie.
But even then, that aside, I think we all, Tiny, you and I agree on it, but we're kind of in different stages of that, and we kind of disagree with Matt. Even then, it's still better than most of the ones, and I think that's kind of what we should talk about.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Just the film, the choreography, and the filmmaking style of the action sequences were just so awesome. Like a lot of like action movies and all kinds of genres, actually, they employ just really crappy slow motion effects, stuff like that. I mean, I'm looking at you, Michael Bay. But this just utilized it in such a great way. Like, it really helped, like, carry the narrative flow of the action on screen in a way that was really, really well done.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. Yeah. I loved Well, I loved Chris Evans. I thought he was fantastic. And it's funny to think that he was the guy from Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah.
I also think it's hilarious, or maybe not hilarious, but I definitely chuckled seeing him for the first time, how skinny everyone else was and how much he looked like Captain America.
That's true.
Yeah, he was wearing the coat the whole time for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I didn't even pick up on that until you just said that. Wow. I really liked his chemistry with, is it Jamie Bell?
Yeah,
Yes.
but it was, yeah.
I mean, the character was very archetypical to that kind of movie, but I like the back and forth and stuff.
I more preferred his chemistry with John Hurt.
Sure.
I thought those were really insightful scenes. There's like 2 of them, or maybe 3. I really appreciated that. I loved that they had their main character. They chose to develop him, and you have this well-paced action movie, but then you have these little scenes that are thrown in where you get this development and you kind of peel back the layers of this main character, and just the way he bounced that off of John Hurt and some other characters throughout the movie. I thought it was like the director just kind of set up a camera and let Chris Evans do his thing, and I think it came across.
I have a new appreciation for Octavia Spencer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought she was particularly great in it.
That you didn't have before?
I always liked her before. She was in a couple of things that I didn't particularly like. She was in, I guess that's not true. I loved her in Fruitvale Station. But anyway.
That's what I was going to say.
She was in, Halloween 2, and just the way she died rubbed me the wrong way, that every time I saw her, I was like, oh, there's that lady with the bug eyes who was stabbed horribly. So I guess let me take that back. I appreciated Octavia Spencer the same as I've appreciated her for the last couple of years now.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I loved her when she won her Oscar for The Help.
Yeah.
Which was that her skill was just reinforced by Fruitvale Station. So
Yeah. Many don't burn chicken.
God.
awesome. Yeah.
But yeah.
And how about the unrecognizable Tilda Swinton?
Oh, was she not perfect for this?
Yeah. Awesome.
I didn't have a problem with her performance. She was awesome.
Okay.
The character was just a little too over the top for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought she was a contrast to how understated the cinematography and just everything, the life of the people on the train. I thought she was a contrast to that.
Well, I'll say this. She, for the first half of the movie, was like she was kind of out of place for me. But then there's stuff that happens as they move forward in the train that makes it a little less weird for me, but it still was like kind of like, okay, well, it's already too late. You had half the movie that was just kind of her being kind of weird.
It's funny that you say out of place, because in the first half they're in the back of the train where she is out of place.
That's true. Yeah, and maybe that's the intention, and that's what I gathered from it and everything. Like that's what I was supposed to gather from it, but it just felt like kind of weird because there's this like kind of there's such an emphasis on the hardships of the tail section that they refer to themselves as and the lower class people, that you see this character who's like kind of flamboyantly awkward and weird. I don't know how else to describe her.
Well, she's crazy.
She's crazy.
You're
yeah.
talking about people
Right.
that are trapped in a can for 17 years. They're literally crazy. I mean, and you're going to be weird. Literally, I think everyone on that train was diagnosably insane.
Sure. In her, the way that her character is, the way her character is in relation to Alison Pill's character later in the movie, that's when it kind of clicked together for me why these people are that weird.
Gotcha.
It was just that first half just left a sour taste in my mouth. When I rewatch it, it will probably be better for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you? I don't know. I'm confused. Did you not get that she was from the front of the train?
No, I did. I just thought that it was kind of like over the top because like there's such an emphasis on the lower class struggle and everything, like I said, and then there's like this like intimidating guys keeping like with guns and like they're taking kids and everything, and then you see this just really. I don't know how I would describe her character's mannerisms and stuff, but just quirky and just kind of strange. I don't know. Something about it just kind of was weird. I thought maybe if she was from the front, she'd be more intimidating and more. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that just didn't click with me, and I didn't get.
Well, her guards were intimidating for her, so that's
right.
Really
but I mean,
role. I don't know. To each their own.
Yeah.
What about Allison Pill in that scene?
See, that's when, like I said, that's when it clicked together. I thought that scene was just really, really eerie and really creepy, and that's when the kind of eccentricities of Tilda Swinton's character kind of fell into place for me. I thought that was maybe one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Yeah, me too. I hesitate to call it my favorite because I think there are more scenes that were, I don't know, action packed, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite scene from it?
I would say when the lights go out and they light the match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was the scene that takes place in the sauna car.
Oh yeah.
Because I just loved how we were in the middle, we had adrenaline jacked, and we were in the middle of this tense sequence, and then everything just kind of just calms down and stops. They drop out the music, they drop out the dialogue, and you just get these like characters who are just, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it, but it was just such an intense scene. I love the way it was played. I loved the way it was shot. It was awesome. That was my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The bad guy in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Another. I mean, I'm not crapping on the movie and everything. I did like the movie. He was a little too supervillainy.
His motivation was.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It was a little cartoonish for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cartoony in a lot of ways, or supervillain in a lot of ways. Cartoony, yes. Almost too angry, and also like superhuman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. What do you guys think? Well, I mean, I love the part, but again, without spoiling it, how they sort of set up this kind of, in the first act, they kind of set up this archetype for the action. They set it up one way, then they kind of flipped it, because like I was expecting like a shoot 'em up thing.
Yeah.
And
me too.
That's not what we got
No.
in such a beautiful way, and that's one thing I loved. It was like a nice deception almost. I don't know if you guys got that or not, but
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because like I said, I didn't know much about it going in, so I thought it was going to be action heavy, and it's like in terms of bullets and stuff like that.
yeah. I thought this was the movie that Elysium wanted to be.
Yes, I think
Sure, that's a good way to put it.
I mentally kind of compared it to what I remember of Elysium.
Because as I was watching it, I was noticing these things. I was like, what is their motivation for keeping these people basically in abject poverty and just a horrible lifestyle? What is their motivation? Why are these people, sacrificially, giving up their limbs and stuff like that? It's like, why would they do that? And we get a freaking amazing answer at the end.
That's
which
true.
we never got in Elysium. They never set it up in Elysium, and it frustrated me the whole time I was watching that movie, but this time it was frustrating me, and then they absolutely hit it out of the park at the end. So
That I think is when I left the theater after Snowpiercer, I just couldn't stop saying how satisfied I was by the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Satisfied in all aspects. Satisfied by the action I saw, by the direction, by the cinematography, and then by the mythology that they set up and completely paid off at the end.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Jeez. No,
Oh boy.
I mean, you said mythology. I do have an issue with the very ending.
Like the denouement. after the
Yeah.
climax.
We were talking about how you couldn't understand the ending.
We discussed it off mic, and
We did.
And Matt was just tired, guys.
I was very tired.
Don't blame Matt. He was
I'm
tired.
Still might cut this out. This part.
Even this part?
Yeah.
Us throwing you under the bus?
Pretty much.
Uh-huh. That's why you edit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I know this is not like the goal or the intention of the podcast, but you guys know I have to ask, so I apologize. Tiny, I'll start with you because we agree on this. Where would you rank this in terms of 2014?
2014 so far, movies that have come out, it's easily a top 5. Maybe even top 3. I'm not sure. I mean, Captain America and X-Men Days of Future Past are definitely ahead of it, but only barely, to be honest.
Right. I keep saying Winter Soldier is the gold standard this year for me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try not to think about my lists until December or January of the next year. So
I don't know. I always do a mid-year list. Like I do a July list just to kind of see where I am. Like I'll look back in December to make that list. What about you, Matt?
This isn't a good benchmark for it, but I'd put it around the same area as, or maybe a little same area as I Origins, the Michael Pitt movie.
Okay.
Which would probably be in, I don't know, the 15 to 20 range.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little higher, but yeah.
That's surprising. I'm surprised.
You know,
I hope you get to watch it again before the end of the year.
I hope you do too.
I probably will. I guarantee I will see this movie again.
I just think it's your kind of movie. That's why I'm so shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I just rewatched Anchorman 2, so I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Wait, you watched Anchorman 2 like the day before Snowpiercer, the day before?
Yeah, the day before. I was
that is a challenge to watch. That's a marathon to watch Anchorman 2.
Oh, the second viewing is such a struggle for me.
Wow.
I don't know that I'll ever see it again.
It's just and this is a tangent, but just the big brawl fight. Like at the end of it, I was like, or like right as it was starting, I was like, oh God, just finish it. Just be done.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I fucking love that movie.
Anchorman 2?
I'm kidding.
I was going to say.
Jesus.
I thought it was okay. Yeah, it was okay.
Okay.
It might be. Did it come out in 2014? No, it came out around Christmas, didn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was on my worst 2013 list.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah.
For you.
Yep.
Yeah. Tangent, I guess. We'll go back to Snowpiercer here in a minute, I guess, if you guys want to. But have you guys seen the trailer for Hot Tub Time Machine 2?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. My sentiments exactly, Mike.
This is the first time I've ever said this sentence. I wish John Cusack was in it.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I don't like John Cusack.
Me neither.
I used to hate him. I think he's okay now. I like him in a few things, especially Hot Tub Time Machine.
Right.
So I was really missing him in that trailer.
Yeah, I was like, here we go again. We're just blowing through nap time, aren't we? No, I was very disappointed when I didn't see him in the trailer, and I kept looking for him in the trailer.
Yeah.
And
because they don't say it. They don't mention it. They do a very good job.
Yeah.
And also, Adam Scott is supposed to be his son in the future.
Huh.
Wow.
So he's kind of the replacement, and they don't mention that whatsoever.
Wow. Well, Adam Scott.
They even got Chevy Chase back.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Ugh.
I don't know.
Adam Scott's a good replacement, though, because I love that guy.
He's terrific.
Yeah, but I don't know. The first one, I love the first one. I think it's an underrated new comedy classic.
Oh, it's awesome.
I don't really talk about.
That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of just not even so much on the fence about this one, just not excited about this one, is that a big part of the enjoyment I got out of the first one is the time period. And this one, they're going to the future. It seems weird.
Yeah. Anyways,
so
Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Have you guys seen any of Joon-ho Bong's other movies? Who is the writer-director of this?
No, I have not.
Okay. I think he was kind of...
He only has 2 others. This was his 3rd movie and his first American movie.
Yeah, I think he kind of made a name for himself in Korea. And I had heard of the movie Mother, which is supposed to be really good. I think it's on Netflix instead. It used to be. I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's really good. But I mean, talk about a hell of a premiere for an English-speaking audience. This is freaking huge.
Absolutely. Well, like what I've said for this will be like my 4th time saying it in a public forum. You have never seen a movie like Snowpiercer before, and you will see 1,000 just like it in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised. I don't know what happened. I guess it didn't have the star power, but it's reminiscent with me of The Matrix. and the way Matrix did new things for sci-fi. I guess it didn't really do anything for direction or anything in terms of filmmaking, but just the storytelling is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And we talked about last year how great 2013 was for sci-fi. 2014 is even better. I mean, this class has Snowpiercer in it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Gosh.
I did like it, and I agree. I just need to watch it again.
Does it qualify as just a sci-fi movie? Because it is based on graphic novels.
That's true. You calling it a comic book movie?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it a comic book movie, or is it... I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think comic book movies are like, the established stuff, like X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, comic book characters.
Yeah. This is different.
And is it even... I know nothing about the comic book. It's just like a single publication, right? Like one graphic novel, or is it an ongoing?
I think it's ongoing, actually.
Really?
I want to say, because we actually saw copies of it in the store. We were at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah. Killing time because we couldn't see a movie.
Yeah, that's what we did instead of see a movie.
We went to Hooters then we went to Barnes & Noble.
That's how bad the selection was of movies. We would rather walk around a bookstore and not buy anything.
Hell of a Friday night.
Hey, my wife and I do that all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, but you're married.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm looking it up right now. It does say Volume 1 on Amazon. Yeah. Google. Wikipedia, Snowpiercer. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a graphic novel, and there's a couple of volumes, but they're mostly like sequels.
Okay.
So it's not an ongoing like title that it's not a monthly title.
Right, like The Walking Dead, which you can read my reviews of on obsessivebooknerd.com.
Hello. Plug.
Yeah. I'm really, really tired.
We can tell.
Yeah, you even have the voice.
I know, it's my seductive voice.
All right, well, let's put Snowpiercer in the past.
Okay. It was good. I agree. I liked John Hurt. Also liked Alison Pill. Also liked Chris Evans. Also liked the snow. Piercer was kind of cool.
Jeez.
I'm so tired.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I did like the movie.
You want to take that one again?
Screw it.
No, he wants to go to sleep.
I'll keep it.
Yeah. I'll say it's shaping up to be one of my favorites of the year, hands down.
Wow.
Probably top 5 for me, depending on what the rest of the year does.
Right.
Man, I would say the cast, there's no weak link in the whole cast. I thought everybody was fantastic. I thought the directing was, it almost, I don't think it was super unique, but it definitely had a signature to it. You could definitely tell that this person is going to be able to set, was it Joon-ho, Bong, I think is his name? He's going to be able to set himself apart from other directors. You're going to be able to tell when you're watching one of his movies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not incredibly original. I don't think he did anything new, but it's also not derivative. Mm-hmm. And I'll give him that. I kind of, to sum up, it will absolutely be in the top 10 of the year for me. I'll bump something out that I thought was good later on, just to make sure that I talk about this movie when I do the post, because it deserves to be seen by a lot of people. More movies like this should be made.
I really, really need to watch this again.
I feel like the directing was kind of like Ridley Scott and Terry Gilliam had a baby.
That's not bad.
A little bit.
I got a very distinctive Terry Gilliam feel, like toward when they got higher or
a less sporadic.
Yeah,
Terry Gilliam,
more grounded in reality.
There you go. Yeah.
More on the rails.
Oh,
right.
Hey,
am I right?
Not too tired to make a nice pun.
Well,
he likes to please.
Yeah.
Anyways, Snowpiercer, go freaking see it. It's awesome.
Yep. Please do.
It's cool.
Matt agrees.
Yes. And also, like we said, you can get it on PSN, iTunes, Amazon. Get it digitally, man. Rent it. It's cool.
Buy it.
So what do you say? What do you say we do some scented candle in the Potpourri episode?
Let's do it.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Because we're already doing
add some scented
Potpourri.
candle. There you go.
So we'll talk about.
Dude, I'm so tired.
This is a strange episode.
It's very strange.
Yes.
Hey guys, it's Pat,
And Tyler.
and we are the co-hosts of the Nerd You're Looking For podcast.
We're just two nerds that love talking about nerd stuff, whether it be comics, video games, movies, or TV shows. We start every episode off talking about what we're into. We talk about how we've become the nerds we are today. We go through our nerd news, all the breaking nerd news throughout the week. And we end each episode with a review or a top 5 of something in pulp culture that we love.
It is a bi-weekly podcast that posts every other Monday. You can find all of our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and our companion blog, thenerdspodcast.com. And we are the nerds you're looking for. Take it easy, guys.
See ya.
So at the end of every episode, we like to do potpourri, but this whole episode is potpourri. So I guess we're calling this scented candle. So basically, we're going to each take a turn and talk about something that we've seen or we're looking forward to seeing. Could be movies, could be TVs. Doesn't matter as long as it smells waxy delicious, like a birthday cake candle. Dude, I've been so many candles you don't even know. Did you guys see My Idiot Brother?
Oh, I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I was drunk when I saw it.
Yeah, I'm having a love affair with TJ Miller. TJ Miller?
Nice.
He's awesome.
And that's what I was doing. That's the line from Our Idiot Brother at the end when they're making candles.
Okay, nice.
You have no idea how many candles I've been. You have no idea how many candles I've been.
Wow.
Anyway, so what are you guys into? Matt?
Uh,
When you can squeeze in the time?
yes. Squeeze in the time.
Because you're so tired all the time.
I'm so tired all the time. You know what? I think I mentioned this in the past potpourri like 1 or 2 episodes ago, but I just finished the Keystone Art Theater just finished up their Midnight Madness screenings, and if you're in the Indianapolis area, they are going to have an October Midnight Madness thing, and man, these movies are it's such a fun thing to go to these midnight screenings. Because there's some good crowds. Usually, talking to the bartenders at the Indy Lounge at Keystone Art, they say that usually it's one night is kind of the big blowout night, and then the next night is kind of lower, and they alternate because people tend to go to one screening, I guess. Like the crowds tend to go to one screening. It's not evenly divided. Anyway, so let's see. I don't remember. Forgive me so much, guys, because I don't remember which ones I talked about in the previous potpourri, but I'll just go ahead and say that I'll run down the movies really, really quickly and then talk about the most recent ones. They had, and they're all jumbled in here. Crap. I'll start with The Room because I think I already talked. Yeah, we already talked about Raiders and Back to the Future and stuff. But The Room was great. I think I may have talked about that. Jaws was amazing. Very fun seeing that on the big screen. That scene where the head floats across the screen or comes out of the boat, the sunken boat.
The shark head, by the way.
Was it a shark head?
Oh no!
No.
You're right.
The fisherman.
The jump scare.
The jump scare at every time, and it's amazing.
I'm bummed I missed that one because I really wanted to go.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I chose not to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I can't stay until 3 a.m. anymore.
That's right.
I just can't.
Yeah, everyone failed on that one. Anyway, Silence of the Lambs was awesome. It had been several years since I'd seen it, and I just forgot how thrilling it is. Like, for some reason, my perception of it, or my memory of it was just this kind of, not lame, but kind of like this long-winded movie about an agent hunting a serial killer with the guidance of a more interesting serial killer. That was my memory of it. But it's so cool. It's such a good movie. In this, the Hannibal Lecter's big scene, kind of I think toward the middle of the movie, is just so chilling.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was that.
I think the statute of limitations is up on the spoilers there. What scene in particular are you talking about?
Oh, the one where he escapes and cuts off he cuts off a guard's face
and wears it
Yeah.
as a disguise to get away. It's so awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
And then the last two were Clue and The Princess Bride. Clue was awesome. Tim Curry.
Clue is one of the most underrated movies in the history of movies.
It's amazing. It's
Such a great movie. I love it.
Again, really had to pee.
It's because you get beers before the movie.
I do. That's
why.
it's
the drawback of having a bar at the theater.
But it's such a cool place. I love it. Seriously, I can't tell you enough. Go to Keystone Art at the Fashion Mall.
Yeah, the atmosphere and the ambiance trumps needing to pee in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Princess Bride was fantastic. I hadn't seen that in a long time either. But they passed around a questionnaire or a questionnaire thing, having us rank groups of movies that they want for the October screenings, and there were some that were weird, like Mean Girls I think was on there, but they had some really good ones on there though. Like I put like emphasis on like the original Dawn of the Dead and Halloween, but I don't think they'll be able to get that.
You know from experience.
I know from experience.
Yeah.
God damn it. No, but it was just so much fun. Such a great theater. And like it was so cool because Princess Bride, like I think there was like a little kid like kind of toward the front row who was quoting it. And it was just like, that's so cool. I love it. So yeah, potpourri for you guys. What do you guys think?
Tiny?
Yeah. I'm gonna bring up two movies. I want to hate on one and I want to love on the other. That sounded bad.
No, that's I think that sounded exactly the way you meant it to sound.
Well, thank you. I recently watched the movie The Counselor. I brought up Ridley Scott earlier. Have you guys seen it yet?
I've heard nothing but negative things. Yeah. Written by
don't remember.
Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah, it's based on.
No, I think he wrote the screenplay.
That's right. He did. Yeah, he wrote the screenplay.
Yep.
Weird.
Son of a bitch. I have, I'm gonna go. I don't think I like Cormac McCarthy at all. I read The Road, liked The Road. I read it on Matt's recommendation because Matt loved that book.
I loved it. Okay, small tangent. I loved it for the descriptive, like the prose.
Okay.
The prose was just some of the most beautifully descriptive and haunting and just very bleak writing. Just the way, like there's very little dialogue. It's all just descriptions of what they're seeing and what they're doing and stuff. And it's so gripping the way that he writes it. But, but the overall story and everything, like the kid with his father, it was just kind of like, maybe I just didn't get it. But,
yeah. I didn't. I wasn't that crazy about the novel. I thought it was okay.
Oh, okay.
Book. Anyways, I'm just not sure how crazy I am about Cormac McCarthy because like No Country for Old Men is probably one of my favorite movies.
Nice.
I don't know. I'd say it's in my top 50 easily. I don't know about top 20. I love that movie. But I tried to read the book and I only got like 20 pages in. Something about his writing.
Wow.
So The Counselor, man, talk about a sporadic movie. It was just all over the place. I think I tweeted, I was like 30 minutes into the movie, had no idea what it was about.
Oh, I hate that.
People were just kind of doing things. I mean, it was a very graphic movie. There was a lot of like, there really wasn't even much like nudity in it, but there was like a lot of sexual tension and mentions of like some like graphic discussions, a lot of graphic language, graphically descriptive. But not in a good way. It just didn't really add much. Some of the dialogue was okay. I really enjoyed. Well, I sort of enjoyed Javier Bardem. I think he can turn even crap into good stuff. I liked him in this, but every actor was you could just tell they were struggling so hard to make these scenes fit together, and they just didn't. it's a terrible movie. But I give the actors a lot of credit. I give Ridley Scott basically none. I don't understand what he's doing lately. I mean, he's just made a bunch of freaking turds lately. The Robin Hood movie was a joke. That was terrible.
That's right.
Geez, what else? I've tried to push a lot of them from my mind, I think. But this was just, he's like, I just get the feeling.
Did you not like Prometheus?
No,
that kind of predates the podcast. That would be a good one to talk about, actually.
Yeah, I'm a borderline apologist of Prometheus.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
But it's really just out of my bias for that franchise, more than anything. Yeah. So, but yeah, like, gosh, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of Adam Sandlering right now. He has an audience, and he's one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. So he's just making anything and just throwing it out there. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to hate on that movie because it was just such a piece of crap.
That's what I've heard that from a lot of places.
Yeah. At least he's been producing some good stuff. I'm looking. He produced The East, and he produced Killing Lincoln.
Well, get out of this rut. What do you love, Tiny?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You had a good one you were going to talk about.
I did. I wanted to talk.
I've been like waiting to hear.
Matt mentioned it earlier. I Origins.
I'm kidding. I liked it.
You son of a bee. We went and saw this as it was actually the opening film for the Indy Film Fest. Indy spelled INDY.
Yeah.
Which is the nickname for Indianapolis.
Can we talk about that for a second, Tiny?
No, it's just about the movie.
No, let's talk about this.
No, what happened was it was the opening movie for a film festival, and the film festival it's like an independent company, so they don't really make money, and this was like an event. It wasn't just like watching a movie. There was like an after party, and there was actually a Q&A with the director. He actually Skyped in. We didn't stay for it, but so as a result of all that, tickets for the movie were $25.
$25. This was a Thursday night.
It was for a good cause. It was a Thursday night. Yeah.
It was a Thursday night. I'd worked that night. I'd spent money throughout the week. This is telling more about my stuff. When I used my card to get it, like Chase texted me and said, "You have 75 cents in your account." So Tiny, how did your experience go buying your ticket?
There was a table with two people, and they were both selling tickets. The guy I walked up to was like, "Oh, you're in luck because we just had somebody come in who couldn't use their ticket. So here you go. You get a free ticket."
That was really cool, yeah.
So I got in for free, and Matt had to pay $25. I felt so bad.
To be fair, you did buy my concessions, though.
Yeah, I tried to, and I drove.
And you drove, and you paid for parking.
I paid, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was at the.
But if I had driven and if I had paid for parking, I still would have also paid for $25 for a ticket to a movie and a party that I was not able to go to. Yeah. So anyway, how was the movie?
It was an oversight on my part. I suck. Anyways, this was showing at the Indianapolis Museum of Art in the just awesome Toby Theater.
So great.
It's just a magnificent theater. We've talked about it before. And so this was the kickoff for the Indy Film Fest. I was really excited about a lot of the movies they had. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to go to any other ones because it's only a week and a half, and a lot of them were showing like during the day.
I almost went to some of them. They had some pretty interesting collections of short movies, short films.
Yeah. But I Origins was, we were actually one of like 5 audiences who got to see it before anyone else, like in the world, literally.
Yeah.
Because it opened the next day in LA and New York. So we were the first of like 5 audiences to see it or something like that. It was kind of cool. The movie, finally, it's about this scientist who, I don't remember exactly what kind of scientist he is, but, he's essentially studying he's some kind of biologist. He's studying, the eye, human eye, and how it evolved to where it became. And he kind of traces it back all the way to what we evolved from originally. So it's kind of a high concept movie, but it takes you down like a really interesting path. It tackles a lot of the big issues with science versus faith, and you know, can you be both? Can you be faithful and scientific at the same time? Actually, the main character, Michael Pitt, played the main character. He actually based his character off of Richard Dawkins, which was pretty cool. But man, I really loved this movie. I was sort of blown away. It's probably, I don't know if it'll be a top 10, but it'll be close for me for this year, I think.
Wow. I remember seeing the trailers and saying, oh yeah, this movie looks like it's for me. But as the trailer went on, I was like, this movie looks kind of boring.
You know, it's not a fast-paced movie by any stretch.
Okay.
The director is Mike Cahill. He was kind of known for his other movie was called Another Earth. Came out a couple years ago. He wrote and directed it. That's a cool movie. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
But those are the only two. He's done 3 movies. He has another one that's a documentary from several years ago, but he's only done 2 feature films. And I really dig his style. He's kind of like Spike Jonze, but less mindfucky.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Which I think is a high compliment. I think he has a great style. I really like what he does. I appreciate his writing more than anything. I just think he has really has a talent for writing. The movie was great. I loved the acting. Michael Pitt is always awesome. Wow, I forgot her name. William Mapother is in it, who is an actor. He was most famous for playing a villainous character in Lost.
Yeah.
Britt Marling is the actress who is in it. She's kind of blossoming right now. She was in the movie The East, which she also wrote and directed. And all the characters were great. I thought they all had really good chemistry with each other. It's a really good movie. Once it releases wide, I hope people go see it because man, it's a cool movie. Yep. So
cool.
Took forever for me to get there, but that's what I saw. So
yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. What do you got, Mike?
It's all right. Well, you guys took your sweet time, so I got a couple.
Sorry.
Go right ahead.
That's all right. That's all right. The first thing I'll talk about is I've been watching the Kevin Smith movies.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I had never seen Chasing Amy, and so on vacation I watched Chasing Amy, and I loved it.
You never saw Chasing Amy?
You've never seen
No.
Chasing Amy? Wow.
I never saw Chasing Amy.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
It was a Gap movie. It's a Gap movie.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
So I watched it, absolutely loved it. Might be my favorite Kevin Smith movie. And so as I'm watching, so I decided to watch some more. I wanted to rewatch Clerks. I wanted to catch up on some of the other ones that have just kind of slipped through the cracks. And so as I'm watching them, I'm also reading, Matt, your Kevin Smith retrospective reviews.
Oh, nice. Which you can find at obsessiveviewer.com and also check the show notes.
Where you will find that Matt is a strong Kevin Smith supporter and doesn't have a negative thing to say about any of the movies.
That's right.
I only say that because, to my point, I love you to death, man. I know. I'm just teasing. That's okay if you love Kevin Smith, but I think you were incredibly generous to Mallrats and Clerks 2.
Okay. Well, Mallrats holds a special place in my heart. That was one of my first.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that. It must. I remember thinking there must be something here Matt sees that I. It wasn't an awful movie. No, it was.
It's kind of bad.
It's not a good movie.
It has.
I want to love it so much because it's about comic books, which is one of my favorite topics. But it is. Like a lot of people say, it's kind of like Clerks in the Mall. It's not really, except that the characters are the same. Lee, what's his name?
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee's character is pretty much a ripoff of Randall from Clerks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And even more annoying. And by the end, you're not rooting for him to get back with his girl whatsoever. And that whole climax on the stage of that dating game is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
It really is. And
the whole premise is so stupid. So, I was like, read your review to start, and then I watched the movie. Halfway through, I read it again. And then when the movie was over, I read it for a third time, and I was like, what did I miss?
I don't remember what I said in my this isn't really a defense, but I will say that that was one of the first posts I made on the blog.
Well, sure, and it's the second Kevin Smith movie.
Right. So, I mean,
that said, Clerks is fantastic.
Oh, I love Clerks.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you dig Clerks 2? Do you have a specific gripe about that?
I thought it was boring.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, it was. It like tried to do the things the first movie did. But the first movie was about a time. The first movie was about 1994 or whenever that came out, 92. And it was just perfect. It was for the slacker generation. And I know that this was like the continuation of that. That was like what happens in your 30s. I guess I really don't like Dante. I don't believe that he could always have these attractive women pining for him. And I know Randall makes that comment in the movie. But I will give it credit for not rehashing every single joke, but the jokes that they did have, I thought were pretty silly. I don't particularly care for Rosario Dawson, and the newcomer, the kid who works with them, was one note and not funny at all. And I know I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people like Clerks too, but I did not like it.
It's my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
Is it really?
It's my favorite.
Really?
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. I don't think
Really?
I don't think it's his best.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I think but it is my favorite.
You just
Why?
love the Donkey Show.
The comedy worked for me. Well, and I'll tell you what worked more than anything was the whole friendship angle.
Okay.
Those guys,
That was sweet.
they love each
Yeah.
other literally. I don't know. I thought that was really great. It just the comedy, the whole the part where they rip on Lord of the Rings was freaking
Yeah.
hysterical.
You know, it was so built up that I was unimpressed. Like everybody always says, "Oh, you're a Star Wars fan. Wait till you see Clerks 2 and the conversation they have." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's true. They kind of walk, but that's not that accurate." I'm trying really hard to be a Lord of the Rings apologist. I guess it doesn't need any apologies. I'm trying to see the side of Lord of the Rings fans. So, like the whole time, I was trying to be a little neutral about it, and his claims about the Lord of the Rings are baseless and frankly silly.
Yeah. And also the apologies for using the phrase, but it's in the movie. The whole porch monkey joke is epic. I don't care what you
That
say.
was
That is
pretty funny.
hysterical.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I pulled a Matt on that movie, and I was a little too tired when I watched it.
Sure.
But no, I mean, I think it's far inferior to the first Clerks.
I'm
It's
glad
better than Mallrats.
I'm glad you really like Chasing Amy because I think that's it's one of my favorite rom-coms.
Yeah, it's
Chasing Amy's fantastic. I think Joey Lauren Adams her voice is a little grating, but
yeah.
I think that's Kevin Smith's best movie.
Yeah, from a technical
I can give. I don't know.
from
Kind of
screenwriting.
to borrow from you, Tiny. I don't know that it's my favorite, but I think it's his best.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, from a screenwriting perspective, I think it's his best.
The script.
Although
is
I'll
amazing.
tell you, Red State's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's good.
I met a guy a couple of weekends ago who I saw a kindred spirit in him, and I played the "What's Your Favorite Movie" game, and he told me Red State.
Huh.
I was just like, really?
Nice.
Oh, anyway. Yesterday I watched Life Itself, which is the Roger Ebert documentary about his life and the death, and it was beautiful.
You know, I was just telling Tiny about it. It's leaving Keystone Art after Thursday. I might try to see it on Thursday.
You got to check it out if you love movies. I've said before on the podcast that Ebert's a personal hero of mine. I did the write-up for it on the blog when he died a little over a year ago. I don't know. It meant a lot to me, especially growing up in Chicago. He was such a Chicago guy that, like, showing a lot of the places where he came from and kind of where he hung out and how loyal he was to Chicago. And just the way he talked about movies. I mean, I'm not a movie review in any professional sense, but he's definitely a professional hero of mine. And it was just cool to see. It was well done. I think it paints a pretty beautiful story. I love that they don't pull their punches. Roger Ebert, admittedly, even was a bit of an asshole sometimes, and they definitely show that. And I think it really made a hero out of his wife, Chaz. So I highly recommend seeing that movie.
Cool.
Yeah, I got kind of just. I mean, like, I wasn't a huge. I mean, Ebert didn't mean to me what he meant to you.
Right.
But just seeing the trailer for it was just really, really, like, just it spoke to the movie fan in me.
Sure. Yeah.
It just seems like it really captured his passion.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Tiny.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, since he's he's kind of one of your heroes. I'm just curious, how did you feel about his opinion that he was so vocal about that video games will never be considered art?
I remember reading that article.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna go here and make any comments on it. I haven't really thought about it that much since.
Okay.
I'd have to read the article again. Let me get back to you on it.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was baseless. I was really disappointed because I was a fan of his too, not to your extent again.
Yeah.
I liked him too, especially I just thought he was a great writer.
Yeah, he is fantastic and just prolific. The way he could bust out a review.
Oh, he wrote
quickly.
Yeah, he wrote every single. There was like a thing where he said he writes something every single day.
Yeah. And he's even gone back. Like he'll write a review. He wrote a review about the Raid Redemption where he kind of tore it to pieces and kind of had to rewrite it later on to kind of explain itself and apologize. So he is aware of some of his shortcomings. But I know the article to which you refer. I'd have to read it again.
Okay. Yeah,
so I don't know.
The internet kind of exploded when he said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also not a big video game nut, so
Right.
We'll see. The third thing I want to talk about, and this is a little quicker, third of four, I apologize. The third one is, I just want to say, I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm so psyched about the 15-disc Halloween Blu-ray collection.
Nice.
With all the new features. So it comes with the regular version, the theatrical version, and the TV version of Halloween 1978. Also comes with the TV version of Halloween 2, and also comes with the producer's cut of Halloween 6. All of which, of course, I have on bootleg, but I'm just so thrilled to have those on Blu-ray. This will make the 7th copy of Halloween that I own.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, and my wife is not thrilled about that.
Did you?
I have the VHS copy of it. I have the regular DVD. I have the limited edition DVD with the TV version. I have the regular Blu-ray, and I have the updated 35th anniversary Blu-ray. And I owned a PSP version of it, a UMD disc, but I don't have that anymore.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Did you already pre-order this?
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So did I. When does it get released? Because I need to make sure that I know that I have money in my account.
September, I want to say it's either September 15th or September 23rd. I can't remember.
Okay.
Nice.
The last thing I want to mention, and again, I'll try to keep this brief, and I also want to keep it as spoiler free as possible because what it does as you watch the movie is really part of the draw. I watched the movie The Imposter.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a British documentary that came out in 2012 about a man who impersonated a 16-year-old, a 22-year-old man who impersonated a 16-year-old missing person case. So a young boy went missing in America, and he was found, and I'm doing air quotes, in Brazil 3 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's this guy. I won't say his name. I won't say where he's from, but it's this guy, the imposter, who came to this family, which is an incredibly interesting story to begin with. Like, why would this family believe that? What happened? And then about halfway through the movie, the story takes yet another twist, and it's just so good. It won a couple of awards. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
Nice. I've heard really, really good things about it.
Yeah.
Mike, have you seen, and Tiny, have you guys seen that documentary about the lady that faked being involved in, or being in 9/11?
The woman who wasn't there.
Yeah, there you go.
I watched it recently. It's just amazing story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah, The Imposter's on Netflix Instant. Both of those movies are on Netflix Instant.
Yep.
Sounds like we should get them together. I'm so tired, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, signing off.
Yes, let's sign this sucker off. Anything to do before I sign off?
Quick update. My day versus movie count. Today is the 210th day of the year. I have watched 210 movies.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Nice.
I am even now. I've watched 43 so far in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know.
Jesus.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch 365 movies in 365 days.
How do you... Good Lord, I can't even fathom. Do you like bulk up on days off? Do you do like 5 movies on a day off?
Yeah, and Netflix makes it easy because I can leave a movie and come back exactly where I left off.
Right.
Okay.
Watching in pieces.
Right, watching in pieces on my phone. I mean, that's how I'm doing it. Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ladies, he is single.
I am. So yeah.
That's impressive. That's very
in.
impressive.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that about does it. Thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. I do not have my sign-off sheet, so I'm just going to freeball it here. Thank you to Star Tissue for providing our awesome opening theme music. You can find more of their music at soundcloud.com/StarTissue. Also, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer, and follow us on Twitter at I am Mike White for Mike, at Obsessive Tiny for Tiny, and at Obsessive Viewer for me, Matt. You can also email us each individually at Matt or Tiny or Mike at obsessiveviewer.com. That's not all one big email address. It's 3 separate ones.
I think they knew that.
I don't know where I am right now. As always, you can rate us and review us on iTunes. It helps us out a ton. It gets us out there and gets us feeling like we should do more of these things with our mouths. God, stuff.
I'm sitting across from him right now, and like his eyes. Oh my gosh!
And I have to work for 8 hours tonight.
Yep, you do.
Yeah, it's just like I'm gonna fall asleep, and like drool is it's gonna be like a faucet.
Continue.
Anyway, so rate and review us on iTunes. It's a really great thing to do for us because it makes us happy. Also, tell all of all your friends and everything about us, and check out Obsessive Book Nerd at obsessivebooknerd.com, where we're reviewing books and providing commentary on the ever-evolving world of reading. Also, check out The Secular Perspective at thesecularperspective.com. It's a tiny side project where we talk about secularism and religion and how they interact and intertwine in our society. Yeah, and screw it. I think that's all I got. Yeah.
Not your worst.
Not my worst. I have I still have a 10-minute sound file of me screwing up an intro. So yeah.
Ay.
Yes.
Good times.
Good times. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.
So, guys, this is a potpourri episode. It's an extended potpourri, and we're
it's Raymond,
and we're with a famous Chihuahua. Tiny, did you know about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is a potpourri episode.
You can explain that?
Yeah. I'll throw that as a tag. Actually, my brother has adopted a two-legged. My brother and his girlfriend have adopted a two-legged
Chihuahua, teacup Chihuahua.
Teacup Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Named Turbo Roo, and it got picked up by the news, like the local news, and then it went national news, and I think international news. It's like they made a Facebook page, and it's got like 6,000 or 7,000 likes.
Yes.
By the way, thanks to our 400 likes on Facebook, guys. No.
His dog has likes, thousands of likes.
Yep, they have a Facebook page for it because it's a little two-legged dog missing its 2 front legs, and my brother's girlfriend like made this contraption where it like kind of a wheelie thingy, which is the technical term. Yeah. And this is my first time.
Enough already. With the adoptions, he's a rescue.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, the only thing worse is when they adopt people. Ugh. Anyway,